guys, this time we are at Little Sahara Sand Dunes right here in Waynoka, Oklahoma, and we have got the Pro R. I actually found some paddle tires and some wheels for it, and we're gonna see what this thing can do in the dunes. So the paddle tires are called the Sand Cat P12s, and they are from SuperATV. There's some really lightweight paddle tires with some not crazy aggressive scoops on them. They should do really well in the Pro R. Now for the front, they've got the simple little pattern where you can have it full drive and get a little bit of traction, but also make it where you can turn and carve in the dunes really well. And then we got them mounted on these muscle wheels, 15-inch beadlock wheels, all aluminum. Should be a pretty good combo, and they look really good. That's enough talking. Let's get into this thing and rip.
Favorite things about Waynoka, Oklahoma and the Little Sahara Sand Dunes is they've got trees and wood trails that are also sand. They're a lot of fun to play with, especially in the Pro R. Like a roller coaster, so you are in complete control the entire time. Alright y'all, it's a hot one out here. It's about 100 degrees here in Oklahoma on the dunes, and the sand is super hot. So far the razor's doing good. I haven't heard the fan come on yet. We're sitting at about 208 right now, which isn't horrible. So I mean, we're whooping on this thing pretty hard, but it seems to be doing pretty good. Trying to keep this belt together. I think the belt for these is like 250 bucks. And I didn't buy a spare because this isn't my razor. So yeah, wish me luck. Hopefully I don't burn up a belt. One thing to note, be super careful on these trails because they are not one way. We're running them fast. It's the middle of the week. Nobody's out here, so we're pretty safe to do it the way we're doing it, but be careful if you're ever bombing the trails, or do it at night because that way everybody's got lights and you can tell where everybody is. So yeah, just be careful. Okay, scratch that. I guess the fan is on. It's just very quiet. Huh. Never noticed about the Pro R. Never noticed that before. so far we have blasted the trails on this thing. It feels super comfortable. I've got it in Baja mode and race mode on the throttle. The SuperATV paddle tires seem to be doing great. The rear paddles might not be quite aggressive enough for this machine with 225 horsepower. So I've been running it in open diff front end, so it's like it's in full-wheel drive with an open diff. That's helped a lot. Otherwise, it's just spinning tires like crazy in the rear and acting like it's not getting traction. But a lower powered machine, which these are going to end up going to my Pro XP, so they'll probably end up being perfect. But haven't had any belt issues, anything like that. It's staying fairly cool. It's 100 degrees out here, so I mean, we expected it to get kind of warm, but it hasn't really gotten over like 207, 208, so that's good. But yeah, this thing's a ripper. Those wheels are holding up good, no problem with the tires. Next up, we're gonna have to jump it or see how fast it can go or carve some big dunes, but we're done with the trails and it dominated. One thing I did notice is the clutching in this thing is amazing. I think it's been perfect and everything so far, low range, high range, everything's been really good, except for in reverse. In reverse, it's like it's in high range. It takes a second to catch, and I just feel like I'm gonna slip the belt the whole time. So I try, when I'm making these turns in the sand, to make sure I have plenty of room to not have to use reverse, because it's just a little sketchy. And it might not be a problem, but it feels like it's super high when you put it in reverse. So just something I noticed. And another thing, I have the tires at around 10 PSI. There's people that are running down as low as 4. Last time I was here, I was running between 6 and 8 and ended up blowing a tire off the bead on some beadlocks on some different paddle tires. So I was running 10 just to be safe so we can do jumps and everything else, but you might have better luck going down to 6 or 8 PSI, and we might try that towards the end of this trip. But yeah, stay tuned. Well, this thing jumps pretty dang good. I found a good jump and then I found a good downhill to land on, and I had one good hard hit, and then the last time I made sure and used my oh crap button here, a little red guy, and that puts the suspension at full firm, and that way it doesn't bottom out when it landed, and it landed silky smooth. But it was a pretty big jump for, you know, warming up to this thing. But we're not done yet. Stay tuned. Jason thought he could do the same hill climb that the Pro R did. He got stuck back in the woods, so wasn't working. So these guys showed up on quads and went and found someone that had a winch. Jason's winch broke, found a winch, now they're starting to winch him out. I thought he was gonna be stuck here forever.
Don't do that again. Final thoughts on the Pro R and how it performs at the dunes. And this thing right out of the box is an absolute sand slaying machine. And adding the muscle race wheel beadlocks and the SuperATV Sand Cat tires made a big difference. Lots of fun out here. I mean, there was some of these dunes and stuff, I'd come out the top of the dune doing 75 miles an hour. Hauling butt on the flats, no belt issues whatsoever the whole time. The paddles are probably a little under paddled for this machine with the amount of horsepower it has, but it was still fun. I left it front diff open, so basically 3-wheel drive, and it drove great, handles great. 2-wheel drive was a little too loose for me, but like I said, you had a little more paddle on there, it'd probably be a little bit better. But overall, tires were great. Can't wait to put them on the Pro XP and try it out. But yeah. If you're thinking about getting a Pro R to slay the dunes, I highly recommend it. Another big thing I noticed with riding with a bunch of turbo machines is the Pro R being naturally aspirated. I think I saw it got up to like 210 one time, 209, 208. It's been 104 degrees today in Little Sahara, and this thing doesn't overheat, doesn't have an issue. It doesn't have a turbo to make excess heat. And it's got plenty of power. Like, I don't even know why you would want to put a turbo on one of these. You could probably do a mild tune on one of these, some crazy paddles on it, and freaking haul butt around the entire dunes and have an absolute blast. It rides amazing. The dynamics on this thing, like, I wasn't a huge believer in dynamics until I got this machine. Like, the latest edition of the dynamics is absolutely insane. It's just out of this world. I left it in Baja mode the whole time out here. I put it in comfort mode when we were riding on the little trails back to camp, and a lot of times you get that little weird, you know, swapping back and forth and riding really funny that you get with any machine. You hit that little firm up button and that would go away. So that was a cool thing to have as well. And man, I just can't say enough good things about this. And I am not getting paid by Polaris or anybody to tell them how awesome this machine is, but this is the favorite thing I have ever driven. Dunes, really? I mean, it does good in the woods, but it is definitely made for the dunes. And stay tuned, because when we get back, it's getting us out of 35 stickies on these muscle race wheels, and then we're going to see how it does rock crawling, so stay tuned for that. Trying to start itself. He's really gonna burn up now. Well, this ought to remind you folks to always bring a fire extinguisher to the dunes, because these things get hot, and I don't know what made this thing start on fire, but it is completely gone. we probably got some Turbo S Fanatics and some Can-Am X3 Pro R, or however many R's it is. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the only R you need is a Pro R, because I've ridden with guys with X3s, and the Turbo S that was with us on this trip couldn't even get close to keeping up with this Pro R. It's absolutely ridiculous in the dunes and the trails. Like, there's no way, not even close. So maybe they'll let us stick around long enough with this thing and really test it. Do you think you're faster than a Pro R in the dunes with anything other than another Pro R? I just don't see it. Just don't see it. Oh yeah, one more thing. I don't know if I told you guys or not, but on day 2, I took the air pressure down to 8 PSI on the tires, and I think they're still a little bit under paddled for this machine, but they actually hooked a little bit better, and I didn't blow the bead off, so for what it's worth.